I gotta shave. I gotta trim. It's getting out of hand. You ever let yours grow out, Phil?
Sometimes, but then it'll get like really itchy, and I just have to shave my face.
See, I've been lucky. I don't have that. I've never had that problem.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It'll get itchy or like sweaty, and it'll be time for a change. Maybe I'll sneeze super hard, and it'll all just fall out.
Unfortunately, I can't relate.
Yeah, mine just gets long, and so like anytime I like eat or drink anything, I feel like the whales that have like the filters for the krill and stuff in their mouth, and that's just
oh yeah,
I look like a freaking Lorax when I do that. But
yeah, you're like a filter feeder. Yeah, baleen.
Yeah,
whoa, nice.
The giant toothbrush they have for teeth. I don't know. It's the best thing I can equate it to. But here we are. We are back. This is episode 14 of ArachNerds, brought to you by FulviusApparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. I have some, as always, I feel like I say this pretty much every time now. I have stuff I got to add to the site. I got a new Anolis design I was working on today that I kind of threw together and liked. And some other sort of other stuff I've been adding on there. Just added a Flamingo Kyla shirt recently.
I bought one of those.
He did, I think. So I have that Bacillotheria lighter. I can take that same Flamingo Kylas, do a Flamingo Kylas one.
Yeah, that would be, we'd be talking. Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I want to do some other lighter stuff. The problem is lighters are expensive, and so to buy a bunch and sit on them is not wise. So I'm probably just going to do the sort of make to order thing, and people are just going to have to wait a couple extra days for them to come in me to do them. But neither here nor there. Shirts, hats, coffee mugs, hoodies. Hoodie season is nearing, at least down here in South Carolina. It's fast approaching. I got some beanies on there too. Historically, those have kind of just sat there, but they exist. Check them out. Again, new stuff coming down the way. Phil, what is new down your way? Down your way, up your way.
Yeah. Well, I went to Kalubert Fest this past weekend, so that was a blast. So I've just been kind of catching up on maintenance, quarantining any new animals. Got a big spider day coming up. Gonna have to, water, feed, check on all the inverts, maybe do some centipede stuff. We'll kind of see what some more centipede stuff. Rather, I also paired my my Dahani again after talking with Hannes a little bit, and then I joined. I think it's like Myriapod Madness. It's like a Discord, and I made some changes to my my centipede tub that I pair them in. I call it the centipede sex dungeon. So I changed up the centipede sex dungeon a little bit, and then I put some centipedes in there, and they're kind of in there right now, canoodling. So
you can keep them, buddy.
I think
centipedes are cool, but
they're cool.
I personally would not keep centipedes.
Yep, right there with you.
They're cool, but I'm all set.
I've got 6 right now, like 2.3 orange leg, and then 1 female yellow leg Dahani. I've got a Scolopendra polymorpha that Dritz is holding for me, and then allegedly I'm getting 2 more orange leg Dahanis in the mail. Allegedly, yeah, I paid. I paid for them. I'm just waiting on them from via Dritz. So yeah, no, not allegedly. It's happening. It's just I just gotta things need to transpire. You know how it is.
Yeah, I got to get that male classy up to him. We talked about it and said, yeah, let's ship, and then it just never happened. So.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if you want, you can ship it to me, and I can bring it. Whatever's clever.
Okay.
Whatever we need to do to get the man laid.
I wanted to. Yeah. I need to get back with Dritz about planning that, and then there's some other stuff that's on my radar that I'm hoping he can help facilitate.
Oh,
that Might be ESA Bacillotharia, but I don't know. Maybe.
Ooh.
I was good. That was not my first guess, dude. Absolutely, that's not what I was thinking. You know,
Okay,
that wasn't my.
it's
Yeah,
good. I've just got the
no,
Bacillotharia hat.
yeah, no, I
Very sure. Like,
no.
I know this is going to be a baboon and a Aphonopelma episode, but I was like, you know what? Can't not have.
Hey, Pokies are cool, man.
I love them.
They're cool.
They're awesome. Yeah, because he had some other. He said I think he had a shirt to send me, like an Underdark shirt, and some other odds and ends we had talked about. So I just need to get with him. It's been just been busy, you know. So
Lifing.
Yep, the usual. I don't really have anything going on down here. I got some stuff at Daytona that's been rocking and rolling. Got to get that Classy Dritz, like I said, and then I'm hoping that some of my Flamingochilus, the Achaia, are nearing size enough to where within the next mold I can determine what I've got as far as a ratio goes, because I've got 3 of them now. Really hoping that I can get a pair in the mix there. So
If
size are they?
They're still, the 2 bigger ones are maybe ballpark 2 inches.
Oh, okay.
Not tiny, but still really small.
Yeah.
That's probably something I could work with if you wanted to send the molts my way.
Yeah. My problem is, like, I need to get some sewing needles or something, because trying to lay out those molts to be able to get something that I can look at has been tough, and I got giant stubby fingers. And
if you send Dritz a good ventral shot, he might be able to give you a good guess too.
Okay, they've both been in pre-molt, so they've been MIA for a while now. So
for a minute, I got you.
Yeah, but got 3 of them now. The one I got at Daytona is probably 2 instars behind the other 2 I got. So we'll see. I mean the odds are decent that I've got at least 1 pair going on in there. And then I put some my Margaritatus. So I have 2.2 on those, the Centroides. And I was eyeballing them a couple nights back and was like, these look like probably within the next molt they'd be good to go. And so I sent some pictures to Brandon Russell, who we've had on the show, twice now. And said, what do you think about these, and size wise, are they ready to go? He's like, I've had females go at that size. He's like, put them together and see what happens. And I put 1 pair together one night, and the male immediately, like, his pectins like hit the cork and just like immediately started scanning. Like, you could see it. It was wild. And of course he started doing the little, the vibrating deal they do, and
dance.
Went right over the female and started doing that. And so I left them together overnight, separated them for a little bit, and then actually ended up putting them back together. And I put the other pair together, and the exact same thing. Male, like, immediately knew what was going on. So I don't know if they've made anything happen yet. I haven't seen any signs of a spermatophore or anything, but Hannes was also saying that there's a good chance they eat them. So I may not see one at all, but I've been keeping those 2 pairs together, 1.1 and 1.1, and so far so good. I've been putting a little extra food in there periodically just to make sure the female doesn't try and chow down on one of the males, but we'll see how that goes. So it's pretty cool on a whim just to watch it immediately. I've seen it with snakes. You put some of the rat snakes and stuff together, and the males immediately just do their thing. And I have not seen that with scorpions before. So
yeah, when they know, it's
yeah.
It's it's same with tarantulas. When those males are keyed in, they're going for the gold.
Yeah. Well, this week, as I said previously, this episode we're talking about baboons and Aphonopelma. It's kind of an interesting mix, and we are talking that with Devin Anderson, Devin's Creatures.
Hello.
And a lot to sort of unpack. I even had, so I hit up Sarg and said, I asked him if he wanted to join us, and he's working, so he couldn't. But he said he wants to talk dwarf species. He wants to hear some stuff on that. But
we can talk dwarfs.
Yeah, I'm super interested in hearing that, and
Excellent.
we can kick it off with the usual. How'd you get into spiders and inverts, and then why Aphonopelma and baboons, and then what your current collection is looking like in whatever order you want that to be.
Yeah. So originally, I was terrified of spiders. I never wanted anything to do with them. I was kind of the type that was like, "Oh, there's a spider, Dad, get the vacuum cleaner." Like, I was not a fan. And then I started more focusing on going to school for biology, and so I started working at like pet stores and things like that. And at these pet stores, you would have your basic pink toes, your curly hairs, and all those fun standard guys. And eventually, I was like, you know what? I gotta key in. I gotta learn how to take care of these guys and be fair to them, because that's just how it is. Now I work with them.
Right.
And as soon as I kind of started getting into like dipping my toes into researching them, it went straight down. I immediately fell down the rabbit hole, and I was like, oh, spiders are actually really cool. I went, and it led to me like looking at whenever a spider would molt in the shop or anything like that, I would like take out the molt, look at it, see if I could see anything, if it was a male or female, things like that. And it slowly built up from there. Eventually I left the original store that I worked at, which was a Petco, but it was a starting job. And then I ended up working at a import facility for ArachNerds, specifically tarantulas.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was probably the best job I've ever had. It was very stressful at times, but you know what? It was like hands down, if I could do it again, I would do it again. And I got to work with a lot of species, and that's kind of where I, narrowed down what I wanted to work with, what really interested me, which at first I was completely against old worlds.
Really?
At first, yes, surprisingly. And at first it was just Aphonopelma. Like, I found Aphonopelma and I was like, you know what? US natives are really cool. I want to focus on that. And I did for a while. And then gradually I kind of expanded what I was working with. And my coworker at the time, he loved baboons. And I kind of was like, okay, baboons are kind of cool. And then I discovered the genus Certigyrus. And I was like, light bulb moment. There we go. that is where I want to be with old worlds, and baboons is mostly Certigyrus, because not only because of their horns, but because of their beautiful patterning and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was kind of a 4-5-year journey. Yeah, from being completely against spiders to spiders are really freaking rad.
What do you have in your current collection right now?
Oh, let me pull up the list. I have quite a few. I would say about half of my collection right now is Aphonopelma, US native Aphonopelma.
Wow,
I would say, yeah, and I would say I have around 100, 150, something like that.
Just in Aphonopelma or in general?
No, just the whole collection.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, whole collection. I don't have the room to be like massive. So I have like 2 racks that I can work with.
Yeah.
But eventually I would love to expand more.
Too, so
yeah. So I've got probably like 15 species of Aphonopelma U.S. natives.
That's pretty
Um,
cool. Wow.
I can actually just read off the list.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, do it. Go for
I
it.
have Anax, Armada, Calcotas, Eudilenium, Gabelli, Hensi, Iodius, Johnny Cashi, Moderatum, Mollendorfi, Paloma, Pelancilio, Prentency, Stanendatrinae, Vorzi, species Catalina, and species Dragoon for just the U.S. natives. I have a couple of Mexican natives as well. I have species Acapulco, which is a very interesting species.
Those are cool. I've seen those.
They're very interesting to me because I'm almost convinced that they're not a Aphonopelma at all. Like, I don't
Why do
think
you
they
why
are
do you
at
say
all.
that? Why do you say that?
Because I've looked at the spermatheca of, because one of my friends has a female. I have a male. And I looked at the male first and I went, huh, that's kind of weird. Did I miss, like, identify it from the ventral side? Did I do something wrong? Because that structure right there almost looks like spermatheca. And then I looked at the female and went, oh, so the male has these huge, and I'll post them later, has these huge male accessory organs. Like, I've never seen that in a Aphonopelma, or at least the U.S. natives. Like, they don't have these huge male accessory organs. This one almost looked like spermatheca. That's how big they are.
Wow.
And they're definitely male accessory organs. And the shape of the spermatheca is very almost little caudal-like instead of Aphonopelma. Aphonopelma typically has the two, like, triangular with the bulb on the end kind of structure. And then this little caudal more has kind of like the smooth M, like a smooth wave kind of structure. And that's what I was seeing on the female. And so I'm not entirely convinced that they are Aphonopelma. If they are, I'd be surprised.
That's crazy.
But at least to me, they seem more like they'd be another genera, not necessarily specifically clitocaudal,
Right.
but I don't think that they're Aphonopelma. Not that what we have in the U.S. and northern Mexico is Aphonopelma, because I don't think that either.
Well, that's something that's been interesting to me, is like you have Simani,
Mm-hmm. That's a
and
type
then
species.
with the massive gap between, everything else sort of in between, it's I liken it a lot to the Vehovis that we have here in South Carolina. It's like, how do we have one species of Vehovis here and then literally every other species on the other side of the country? And I think it's a case of, like, those were described and then it was never revisited. Like, it was never touched again. They're like, we'll give these a name. Cool. That's awesome. And then someone else, they found the other Vehovis out in California or, West Coast, whatever, and said, these are Vehovis too. Cool. And then they kind of forgot that Carolinianus was sort of in the background there, because they also look nothing alike. It's bizarre. So it makes me wonder if that's the same thing with, like, Simani, where they were like, that looks like a Aphonopelma, or that will be a Aphonopelma, and then they see everything else and they're like, sure,
Throw it in, kind of
lump it in, yeah.
Lump it in there. And I think that happened to a lot of genera. That happened to, like, it was only up until recently that, recently in terms of scientific study,
right.
that Carabina was separated from Avicularia. So I think it's one of those things that they just kind of got lumped together and they were like, well, this is close enough, so we're going to go with this, and this is what they're just going to be. I did also see that they are reviving the Dugacella genus. I don't know much about them because I've never kept them before.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, so Dugacella, I want to say they have 5 species now. I know one of them is Anita Hoffmanni. It was previously Aphonopelma. And then they have Serrata, which used to be Aphonopelma serratum. I don't know the other species off the top of my head, but the fact that they're reviving a genus and moving these previously Aphonopelma into the Dugacella genus to me shows that what we have in the US is probably Dugacella. But again, that may not be. It might. I mean,
Wow.
we could have two different genuses in the US, in my opinion.
Between the more Texas, Oklahoma side of stuff versus sort of everything on the
So the way I look at it is that it would be the normal, like standard size versus the dwarf complex.
Okay.
Because there's an entire dwarf complex.
Right.
Which, whether they are Dugacella, Aphonopelma, whatever they are, whether they're the same genus or different genus, right now they're all grouped together. Mm-hmm. And I think that they could technically be, because you don't really have a whole lot of genuses that are like, oh, we have the dwarf complex over here and we have the normals over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think right now Aphonopelma is a hot mess.
And I also think a lot of it is stuff gets sort of named or grouped together, and then the intention is to come back and take a closer look at stuff, and then for whatever reason funding doesn't happen, or
funding
the taxonomist that was working on it was 75 at the time, and now we're 30 years later and he's not even around anymore.
The last revision of the Aphonopelma genus, at least the ones in the US, was in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, because that was like a massive paper, right? It was like damn near.
Yeah, I have a full printout copy in my animal room.
I have that downloaded somewhere. I was going to print it, and then I figured it'd probably be frowned upon that I use the work printer to print out, a like 80-page
manual.
It's like this thick.
It's big. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's big.
It's huge.
Whoa.
I think it pretty much goes over damn near every species. We're close to it.
Yep. Yeah. Save for any of the newer additions, like species dragoon. So any of the like undescribed species. Also not Mollendorffi. And they weren't able to get a female Zwalswal.
Okay.
So which Zwalswal is a really cool species that's in the dwarf complex. They have like wicked long legs, the males. They look weird.
That's crazy.
I feel bad because that whole genus, it just, in my first round of invert addiction, Aphonopelma, Brachypelma, when brachyes were all brachyes, before they got split and stuff, like none of that stuff did anything for me. And I was like, cool, brown tarantula is awesome. It was like, I want Poecilotheria. I want like the sexy stuff, But then I come back to it and I'm like, I'm mad at myself because I was in West Texas a couple of years ago. I saw Aphonopelma. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I kind of miss keeping tarantulas, cool. Next, there's a rattlesnake over there. I'm going to go get that. And then like, now those groups are so much more interesting to me now, just from the natural history aspect of it, and having more of an appreciation as I get older for stuff that we have here in our own backyard, like our native species. I feel like they're like a fine wine. Like over time, I'm coming to love them more and more, and including herps too, not just inverts, but like now actually. I see Aphonopelma stuff, and I'm like, okay, like I kind of want those more than I want. The sexier arboreal Asian stuff or whatever, old world stuff.
We're different.
Which I still love those things. I like Poecilotheria will always be my favorite genus.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about having something that we can claim as our own here in the US. To me, I think it's just really cool that we've got.
They're super nifty, and you're absolutely not wrong. I actually gave Devin my last Aphonopelma because.
Little Calcutas.
I was so bored.
They are very, very long-term projects.
Big time. Yep.
I produced a Hensi sack back in 2022, and they are just now like the size of my thumbnail. Like three. I have 3 of them. They're just now the size of my thumbnail.
Whoa.
They're
Slow guys.
incredibly long term.
Slow beans.
Yes, yes, very much so. But I mean, I love working with the U.S. native Aphonopelma, but there's always that, like, do I really need this species because I know for certain they're wild caught?
Yeah,
Right.
I got you.
Anything bigger than the size of a grain of dirt is wild caught. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue we have here with the Aphonopelma is, yeah, they're native to our country, but we also don't breed them. We don't know how to breed them. We don't, we barely know anything about them. And
Same.
yeah, and it's like, it's frustrating. It frustrates me a little bit when people are like, oh, we have like 2 species. And I'm like, no,
No. Yeah.
no, we do not.
I mean, for the longest
have,
time, that
like,
was me. I was like, cool. There's the the Chalcodes and then Hensai.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's all I've seen. And then
yeah,
over time,
because-
it's like, have you seen Moderatum? Have you seen Bicolor?
exactly.
Like, you're missing out. You know.
Exactly. And it's especially like people are like, oh, they're all just brown tarantulas. And I'm like, no.
But there
Like,
are brown tarantulas. That's what
there
makes
are.
it
There
cool.
are.
There are, but they're also blue and kind of greenish, like a bluish gray with red.
Even the black ones. What's that? Johnny Cashii? Those are black, right?
So the Johnny Cashii is, yeah, I would say it's like a deep gray black
Yeah.
kind of
But those are-
color.
that's a
But
good
the
looking
Stein and
find.
Datronai, they're black.
Yes.
They're like
Yeah.
black.
The Palencios
They're
are
nice.
good looking too. I will say those have a cool
Yeah.
blue sheen.
Yep.
Those are pretty slick.
Madeira and Marksy, very
Yeah.
blue. When they're freshly malted, very, very blue. And a lot of people are like, oh, I really want a moray. We kind of have that in the US. They're just a little bit bigger and they're not quite as like green. And
Those
it's really
are
the males that
Boelen's
are
pythons of the tarantula world. Like,
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It just
the moray are really hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Understandably so, because again, even the species that are so sought after, they're hard to breed. They're like, it's impossible. Like I have 3 Paloma females, mature females. I've only ever seen females. I've never once seen a mature male. And it's like, great, I've got females.
Right.
Nah.
And they're just sitting here collecting
Yeah.
dust, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the part where it's like if they had been in the wild, they would have been reproducing and doing their own thing.
Yeah,
and
and that's
like,
what
that's the
bummer.
kind of
Yeah.
a little bit of guilt.
Phil
there,
and I were
but
kind of touching on before we hit start was like that's one of the things that I was really curious to hear your thoughts on, and that's we'll go ahead and sort of jump into this, but you know,
yeah,
with tarantulas across the board in general, not even necessarily Aphonopelma, but it's not uncommon, and I don't see it in herps the same way that I see it in inverts. But like a new species gets described, and then it seems like within a very, very short amount of time, there's magically some available.
Yeah,
adults, you know, out of nowhere, and like you were saying, if it's anything larger than a sling, then there's
wild
very likely that they're wild caught.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like there are different situations for it, right? Like, for example, if you do it legally, that's fine. If you have, say, for example, like what's coming in the US are slings, like captive bred slings, that's fine for me as well. It's just going in and grabbing animals out of the wild. It's not great, but unfortunately, every species that we have started out that way. It's like, if it's done responsibly, that is just how things function. But it's when you have people go in there in excess and they're ripping up entire ecosystems trying to find these animals or doing things like that that is a problem. That is the dark side of the hobby kind of thing. But to touch back on Aphonopelma, like that's all we do. That is literally all we do is collect them. Like you'll see Aphonopelma calcotas for $50. Like that's a wild caught female. I guarantee you that like anything bigger than like even a quarter.
Yeah.
Even a quarter. Like they're
That's such an old spider.
Yes.
They take forever to age. It's insane.
Yes. Because like I have like my hensies, for example, that I produced in 2022, they're the size of my thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, I've raised a Ceratosaurus darlingi, 2 of them, full maturity, and they both just had egg sacs of their own. Like,
Yeah.
in that amount of time, and actually,
Baboons, man.
I probably got them a year. Oops, sorry. I probably got them a year after I produced the hensies.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's wild.
Yeah, it's insane how slow growing they are.
Yeah,
and it is more of a heavy thing.
It is, and I'm kind of torn on it because I look at it through the lens of dart frogs and some of the Brazilian species that were never available in the hobby, but somehow made their way over to Europe, via surely not legal means, but now we're seeing that species available in the States because it's being imported from the European breeders that got those initial animals and made it happen. And so it's like, is there long-term, and I guess this would require it to sort of be a perfect world and everything on paper be exactly as it happened as it's supposed to, like long-term sort of going the same route as Bacillotheria, where it's like we can get them sort of established and going to the point to where imports are kind of irrelevant and unnecessary. But I guess it's just not the same if you're talking about an animal that takes so long to grow and mature, and so many species that people just haven't cracked the code on.
And then you have like the farms down in Mexico that do Brachypelma, and they do well with that. And they're doing great with that, and then we have nothing over here. And I don't often see Aphonopelma in Europe, which is not surprising, but like at the same time, the few times that I have, because in my opinion, Europe is way ahead of us in terms of breeding, in terms of everything like that. They are way ahead. But even over there, like they're like, oh,
yeah,
they're like, we can guess at what to do. And I had that one sack, but it was a half bad sack, so it wasn't even like a fully great sack. So it's hard to get them to drop, especially drop. Like I've had plenty of females pair, and they will not drop.
So that's like the main hurdle, is you're just not getting anything.
Interesting. Do you think it's an environmental trigger? And like
it probably is.
Do you think it's like a cooling period? Like
honestly,
fertility on the male's part.
So what I've noticed is that on the two, so I also had one lay a phantom sac. On the times that I got the phantom sac and the Hensi sac, it was raining.
Interesting.
So I think it has to do with the pressure. I don't know if it's just the rainy season that just triggers them.
Would make sense.
It would
make sense. It would definitely make sense.
Because I hate to keep sending stuff back to like snakes and stuff, but a lot of those species that experience severe seasonal changes, like a little bit of water and some extra food is all you got to do to get stuff going. Like green trees, like Jansenii, like all that stuff. It just doesn't take much, but that is enough to do it.
Like I just this year produced my first clutch of hognoses. You have to do a brumating period, and you have to do all that stuff. So it's very, you have to change up their environment. You have to get them in the mood.
Feel the seasons.
Yeah. And I've tried to brumate my Aphonopelma, but I didn't see like any noticeable difference. Like they definitely slowed down like I expected them to, and obviously I wasn't keeping them too cold or anything, but like same kind of temps that I would brumate my hogs at.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that Hensie that I did get the sack from, she was part of the group that did brumate, so I don't know if they carry over winter or what. But I do know that most of the Aphonopelma pair in the like anywhere from the summer to winter period.
Okay, that's it. I would have expected the opposite.
Yeah. So I do know that like I want to say, which one is it? I want to say it's a Paloma. Paloma is more towards winter.
Mm-hmm.
That they start emerging, because you'll have these waves like for example, every summer the news anchors and everyone's going like, oh, here comes the tarantula migration. Yeah, like, but they come in waves throughout the summer, fall, and winter.
Mm-hmm.
It's multiple species that they kind of, oh, it's our time to go, because some of, especially because some of these species are so overlapped, and obviously you don't want hybridization, which is another problem, but in of itself that the hobby has. But yeah, so those males are triggered by climate differences, and I would suspect that the females are the same. And it's just trying to find the...
Those are pairing in fall, winter, and then those females aren't laying sacks until we're on the other side of winter. Is that...
Probably. That's my assumption. That's my assumption, is that they overwinter with that, and then they lay their egg sacs in the like springtime or early summer, maybe when it starts heating up again.
Because my first question would be, okay, how deep are their burrows on average, and then what's the temperature inside those burrows in the winter compared to the surface temperature now?
Yeah, so I do know that they have pretty deep burrows, especially the dwarf complex. They love their burrows.
Real interesting.
Yes, like my Palomas, they have a whole network, and it's so cool. They have, it almost looks like an anthill. Each one of it, and you can actually, there are in the taxonomic revision, there are pictures of how you can identify which species it is by the amount of dirt and the shape of the burrow.
Oh, that's really cool, actually.
From the burrow entrance. Yeah, it's wicked cool.
That's
it's
nuts.
Wicked cool. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't publish that as just an all-out book.
I know.
The size of it. And
it would have been so cool as just a book. Yeah, that would have been awesome. Really cool.
What so like, okay, so we kind of went off on a tangent. What kind of baboons do you have? I know.
Okay.
I know we just kind of went.
That's right. We were talking. That's right.
But like, what about our
our baboon friends?
Yeah, we can't not talk about those.
Yeah. So
just like, yeah.
So I do have two on this list that aren't on this list, I should say. I have a couple that are still coming in. I did get two Pteronocylus cordatus? Is it cordatus? Yes.
Ooh.
Females.
Ooh. Those are nice. Ooh.
Those are
I ventral sex them as females.
If I'm getting baboons again outside of the mirror I have, like, it's gonna be cordatus. That's gonna be the next thing. That's the first baboon species I ever had, and I see them now for sale, and at some point I'm gonna get some more because
I love Imira. I have so much trauma. So the Imira, I had 3 females. I now have 1, which sucks. But so I had a female that when I got her, she was not quite right. She had a wet molt of some sort, and her hair and her setae were just not right.
Yeah.
And then she molted again and still had the same problem. Oof. And eventually, I think it was the 3rd molt, and she passed. But she was the weirdest. I have posted pictures of her on my Instagram and on my profile. Like, she is the weirdest looking Imira that you've ever seen. She does not look like a Mira at all. She's a brown, like, tan, uniform colored spider that, like, it's almost like you just see the skin of the tarantula, not the actual reflections of the hair, like just the skin, the exoskeleton almost.
That's
She
weird.
was, yeah, she was really weird. And then the other female I had, she was a beautiful, big, mature female, and I paired her, and it was the weirdest pairing I've ever done. And I want to say 2 weeks ago, I was checking on her because I'm expecting her to drop a sack because I was just like,
Are they hammock sack
conditioning you.
layers? Are they
I
hammock
don't
sack
think
layers?
so. Are
Okay.
they?
I
think they
don't know.
are.
I'm asking. Okay.
Because I don't think all baboons are.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not.
I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they are. Anyways, I went to go and check on her, and she had come up, and she had just passed, and I was so heartbroken. I was like,
Damn,
oh.
dude.
Yeah, that was rough. I don't
Sorry
know.
to hear that. That's the worst.
You know what's the interesting part is that the male that paired another female, I know he paired another female. That female died too.
Whoa.
I don't know
Spooky.
if the male had something to do with it. I don't know if
Maybe
it was just
with his man juice or
happenstance.
something.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just weird
He had
happenstance.
cooties.
Yeah, but I still have one little female. I'm raising her up. She's beautiful. Well, let's see what else I have here. Let me see. I've got Brayeri, Agacephalus.
Oh, Agacephalus are sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited to have one of those. Yeah, I
Those are
recently
so
got that
cool.
one. I've got quite a few Certigyrus. I've got Brachycephalus. I've got 3 females? Yeah, 3 females and a male of the Brachycephalus. 2 of my Brachycephalus are paired right now.
I'm pretty sure I saw you pair at least one of those Brachycephalus.
We
was
paired both.
Okay, yeah. That was sweet. That was super cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. And honestly, it goes to show that like when we paired them, the females were like the same size as the male. So they were smaller than you think.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they were tiny.
Yeah.
It was
like
crazy.
Yeah, so like the mature female, because I used to have a mature female as well. She passed of old age, but she was about this fully stretched out. She was about the size of my palm. These females that we paired were at least half the size of that, and they paired. And one of them looks very promising. Like she's been doing a lot of denning. She's been very fat. And I did try to pair them again, and she said no, thank you. So.
Oh.
Hopefully that means I will get a sack
ready,
from them. Yeah. And then I have some darlingies. I now have an army of darlingies.
Yep.
Because I had 2 females that dropped sacks, and that was great. And then I have some Certigyrus marshalli. That was another one that I produced. I have some holdbacks from that clutch. And I have Meridionalis. I have Sendiri. And then I have a single Kilobrachys. Who knows what species it is?
Is it a Huahini?
We don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I got it as unknown.
Wow. So it's just...
it was given to me. It was just like, here, you raise this up.
I feel like that's the case with pretty much everything outside of Thymbriatus. They're like, yeah, it's a Kilobrachys. That's all we know.
Yeah, so it's a female.
Dirt spider.
That's all I know.
Of course it is. She's probably so pissed off too.
She's like this big.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's tiny.
Little bean.
But and then I have a couple of Pteronachilus. I have Lugardi. I have Murinus.
Ooh.
I have a couple of localities of Murinus. I have Kenya, Kigoma, and Usambara.
Kenya's my favorite.
Kingoma are mine. Yeah.
Personally, I'm Botswana.
Those are
I
also
love the Botswana.
I like them all. I like
probably can never afford them, but
every single one, they're sick.
Yeah. I also have some Harpactira. I've got Baviana, Namaquensis. I have Pulcher Peas. Actually, my Namaquensis female and my Pulcher Peas female are paired as well. I have one more coming in. What is she? Harpactira tigrina? Or I say she.
never
I don't
heard
know
of
yet. That will be interesting. That was the first time that I heard of tigrina as well, was the other night when I was looking through, and I was like, I will try that. I will take that.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I have 2 Monosyntropus balfouri females, and one just molted.
I remember that one that was wicked pissy when you brought
Oh
it
yeah,
over. She was huge, dude.
Yep, and she's the one that molted. So
yeah, she's primed and ready now.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to wait a couple of weeks to let her harden up fully, but yeah. Yeah, she'll be ready to rock, and I'm super excited to hopefully produce some of them. I would love to start a communal.
That'd be so cool to watch.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting. I think they're amazing mothers, and that a lot of spiders are actually amazing mothers, but like the Monosyntropus balfouri, they're pretty damn cool. They've got
still a species I've never had.
Really?
They're kind of like house snakes. Like they've been on my radar for a very long time. I just never.
They've eluded you.
They've eluded me.
Just never manifested.
Yeah.
All in due time.
Yeah. I had a great opportunity to get the 2 females that I have, and actually, one of the females that I have, when I got her at the expo, she was laying an egg sac.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah, she was. I was like, well.
Did you see that and you were like, yeah, I want that one. Like, here's cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, well, guarantee that one's a female.
Anybody would, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like they were marked as female, but I was like, well, at least that one is definitely a female. The egg sac wasn't good. I mean, when I opened it up, I guess like some water had gotten into it or whatever. It was moldy, but like there was one ewel. One
ewel?
One. So
did it make it?
No.
No.
But it was interesting to see that she actually laid a good sack, and then at least one of them was fertilized, so that means that she was with a male at some point. And of course the vendor that I was friends with was like, could be paired, could not.
could be paired.
Could be paired.
Figure it out here. Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, because originally, actually, what's interesting is that Mbal was probably one of the spiders I worked with when I worked at the import shop.
Whoa.
So was the Imira.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was getting some of the shop babies. And I was like, yeah, she could be paired. knowing everything about like where she came from. Yeah, she could have been paired. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on all the OBT localities, color forms? I mean, do you think that there's some subspeciation going on there? Do you think that they're strictly just color forms? Where do you sit on that fence?
So, I mean, honestly, if I saw a paper that really went into it on detail, I could be convinced either way. The way I see it is that they over time adapted to the soil coloration and things like that, and that is just a color form. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're different species, or it. Again, if I was given a paper that was like, well, we did this genetic testing and blah 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 and all that, then I could be convinced either way. Mm-hmm. I think that they're very cool. I think that there aren't a whole lot of color forms of species out there. I don't think that, like, for example, you have a couple of color forms that you would see in the US here in, say, like Aphonopelma calcotas. You have the New River, the Rust Rump, or whatever. I'm not sure if what we have here in the US in terms of like locality morphs I don't think that they're true locality morphs like the Pteronachilus are. I think that they're more of like a bloodline trait instead
like
of like pure
Line
locality.
breeding type.
right.
Yeah, like a line trait.
The best looking example of that locality.
Yeah.
That's
And
not
I think
necessarily the rule, but the exception. Like ideally, this is what they would all look like if they were in a captive setting, untampered with.
Yeah, and I think also with the Aphonopelma that it's like that I don't think that they're like true localities. I think that they actually do have some variation, which is interesting because you don't often see things like that in spiders where it's like well, you have this Brachypelma smithy and this smithy. They look like the same thing. Whereas in Calcotas, kind of have you're like, well, this Calcota is a little bit darker than this one. I have a moderatum that I have one smaller specimen and one larger specimen. The larger specimen, it's almost like she doesn't look like a moderatum. She's that dark. She doesn't quite have the strong bandings of the creams and the yellows. Her banding's almost like tan, which is interesting. And that's fresh out of a molt. Like she just molted a couple days ago, and she looks like it's still recognizably moderatum, but definitely a lot darker than like you'd expect. And you see all these pictures online of all the cream bars and the black knees and things like that, and she does not look like that. Whereas, say, with the Pteronachilus, you have this locality looks like this, and then in that locality they look like that, and it's distinguishable. Whereas in the Aphonopelma, it's kind of like
a little
bloody.
more murky. Right.
Yeah. I think
very
it's
reminiscent. The Merinus for me, it reminds me so much of speckled rattlesnakes and how populations vary depending on the color of the rock.
Oh, I did not know that.
You have your white ones, and then you have your pink
really cool.
ones, and then you have your blue ones, and it's almost eerie how similar the color is to the rocks that they're being found in. Like it's almost like they were hand selected for that environment because it's like I said, it's scary how similar the colors are to the natural environment. Like it's and I don't think anything in nature is coincidental, but it's just like how spot on it is wild.
Yeah, and the genetics of that getting passed down and passed down and passed down.
Right. That's what blows my mind about it.
Yeah.
Is like the amount of time it took, like generations, thousands of years, however long for them to get from where they started to that is just, and how many animals had to get killed off. Like literally one out of, however many litters survived and managed to keep that train going. Just that's what blows my mind about the whole thing. And same with the Merinus, it's it's slow. It's like the water dripping on the rock. It takes eons for that water to make a dent, but it's there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like I think locality is kind of a loosely used term in the tarantula world, where it's like you have some that are like that is like Merinus, that is definitively like that's different. And then over here you have like the Calcotas where it's kind of like
so are there intergrade zones? And then like if so, what do those intergrade Merinus look like? That's just like my question.
I would like to know as well, because when I originally when I got my, again going back to the moderatum that I have, she was given to me as a suspect Iodeus. I knew she was not an Iodeus when she was given to me. But then when she molted, I was like, huh, you're not what I expected you to look like. So I sent her a picture to a couple of other friends, and we're all kind of like, she is definitely moderatum. But there was a while there where I was like, is she an integrate of some sort, or like some sort of like hybrid, like a naturally occurring one? But as far like looking at her spermatheca and looking at her, she is definitely a moderatum. It could just be that she is just a different color locale kind of thing.
Different like phase, so to
Yeah,
speak.
different phase. Phase is a good word. Phase is a good word for Aphonopelma, whereas like locality would be a better word for Murinus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
More
Okay.
appropriate. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
that-
see that. Nice.
I feel like that would be more accurate.
Yeah. So what, as far as the dwarf species in both groups, what's sort of where you sitting at with those? And I mean, being dwarf species, we've seen how tiny stuff like Seriocosmus and things like that are. You know,
Yeah.
how did dwarf species in baboons and Aphonopelma compare?
So I recently, with a buddy of mine, paired some Seriocosmus elegans, which are tiny. I would say that the smallest species that we have here in the U.S. is Paloma. Aphonopelma paloma, you're looking at an inch or so. DLS, like about
An
an inch.
adult?
Yes, mature
Yeah.
female. Mature
Yeah.
female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're tiny.
So things are eating springtails.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, my dwarfs, they're like the most food aggressive ones that I have, and the most defensive ones that I have. By the
Yeah.
way,
That doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me. That makes sense.
you'd be surprised how much attitude is packed in that little tiny body.
When you're that small and everything's out to eat you, I'd
Yeah.
Yeah.
be
Like
pretty.
I love to say that like, oh, my Ceratogyrus and most of my old worlds are so much better behaved than my U.S. native Aphonopelma. But
Yeah,
there
that
could
tracks.
there could be a couple reasons with that. Like number one being wild collected,
Mhm.
they're not
Yeah.
quite
Feels-
as.
feels
Yeah,
good,
for sure.
Whereas the Ceratogyrus that I have, I've raised them since slings, so
Hmm.
they're very used to what their enclosure is. Whereas a wild caught female Aphonopelma might be like, not digging this.
Where am I?
Where am I? Yeah, so the dwarfs are quite the complex in the U.S. native Aphonopelma. There is a complex. So there's a group of species that are listed as dwarfs. There are also ones that are intermediate. So
Okay.
So, like,
Like-
what are they referred to as an intermediate dwarf?
not really. They're just labeled as like normals, but like they're not the same as like if you take an Aphonopelma anax full size,
Mhm.
probably about
Mhm.
the size of my hand.
Mhm.
Then you have Aphonopelma paloma, full size is probably about the size of my thumb right here.
Mhm.
And then in the middle you have Aphonopelma like Voridzi. Voridzi
Mhm.
is, I'd say, max around maybe 4 inches.
Yeah, so it's kind of splits the difference.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like it's kind of like that intermediate, the one in the middle. So there are a couple species like that. There are a couple species like I don't think Aphonopelma catalina is one of the dwarfs. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they're not. But they are a smaller species. So you have this gradual like change between the Aphonopelma and the dwarf Aphonopelma. So they are really cool. I would love to have more species. I have 2 of the dwarf complex.
Range wise, with those, are the dwarfs like, is that complex? Are they all geographically fairly close to one another in like
I believe they are.
spread out, between Arizona into Northern California or whatever, for example? I don't know what their actual
Yeah,
range is.
so-
Like, is it much more localized in terms of general range compared to like your bigger Aphonopelma and other stuff in that?
So if I'm recalling correctly, and I may be mistaken on this, but if I'm recalling correctly, most of the Aphonopelma dwarf are on the Sky Islands. So
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
they're higher altitude kind
Makes
of
sense. It's chilly.
yeah, and it's chilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's chilly for them, which is why they pair in
So
the
challenging
chilliness.
to reproduce. Yep.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
imagine how tiny those sacs and those eggs are?
Oh my god.
I can't, dude. That would be banana land.
I would
I had
love
trouble with lividus. Like,
I
oh
would
my
love
God.
to find out, but
Pee.
also so Paloma is an interesting species. I've heard rumors of people producing egg sacs. I've never seen proof of it.
Oh.
I've heard rumors of it, but I've never seen like actual proof of
Was it people actually producing them, or was it, hey, we found a female and she dropped a sac?
That's I don't know. Because I've never even seen a mature male.
Whoa.
I've never seen a
Spooky.
mature male.
Do you know what it would look like? Do you have an
obvi-
idea of what it would
no.
look like?
I've never seen a
whoa.
picture of one.
Whoa.
Actually, no, I might have seen a picture of one. Just one. But it was
Has
like
Dritz seen one? Has Dritz seen one? Does he have?
as far as I'm aware, no.
Whoa.
But maybe.
That's deep if the wizard hasn't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost impossible to find males. Like I've had 4 palomas. None of them were males. They were all subadult to adult females.
Mm.
And unfortunately, I only know like one guy that goes out and gets paloma, and it's like, again, the collection, like,
Yeah.
The ethics, yeah.
how many chances do I want to take before I actually get a male? Like, or do the males have different burrowing strategies? Do they have behaviorally different strategies that makes them harder to find? I don't know.
Right? Are they even looking in the right spot? Like, are they
exactly
just in an entirely different?
Yeah.
Different
exactly
area?
exactly
Could literally
and,
be anything.
Yeah, and the hardest part is that you have to get them when they're immature, because that's the only way you're going to identify them. Once they hit maturity,
It's too late.
It's too late.
Yep.
Even immature males are hard to... The males are hard. If you don't have locality data, collection data for them, it is so hard to tell what species they are. I've had so many people be like, hey, can you tell me what species this is? And it's like, well, I can tell you that it's an Aphonopelma. I can tell you it's a U.S. native. You found it in your backyard. There you go.
Good luck.
Aside from that, like, they have like 2 different colors. You either have the base brown with the copper carapace, or you have black, like the jet black. Like the mature males have like 2 different colors. And so like the copper carapace being mostly your Calcotas, your Hensi, and your Armada. Like, they're kind of obvious, but at the same time, you can't narrow it down to species. You can narrow it down to like, oh, it's probably this group. It's probably the Hensi group. Or, oh, it might be the Calcotas group. You can't identify them down to the species, unfortunately, which is why labeling is so important. And it's scary because I see so many people having a Aphonopelma and they're like, oh, this is a Calcotas. I'm like, no, it's not. So how many times have those juvenile males been mislabeled and then bred back to the wrong species? That's another problem that we might have in the US as well. And that is... it's a valid problem.
I mean,
it's certainly not ideal.
Yeah, but is it... How viable is an intergrade like that? I mean, is it...
Honestly, it's probably been done before and just no one caught it.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you have the groups, there are like 4 or 5 different groups within the like standard Aphonopelma, outside of the dwarf complex, and I'd assume that like some of those species within the group can't be distinguished from each other except by location or by like meticulously looking at a specimen, like the hair length and whatever. For example, Aphonopelma Johnny Cashy and I think it was Aphonopelma Iodeus, they're near indistinguishable from each other except by region. And
wow.
Yeah. So it's like I got the first female that I got that I identified myself. She actually recently passed away, which is sad, but she was sold to me as a Calcotis. Now, looking at her visually, I knew that she was not a Calcotis. Her chelicerae were too big. Like, different species will have different proportion of their chelicerae, and some of them have a bigger dome.
Mhm.
And she did. She was very noticeably different. And I got her anyways because I was like, oh, that's a fun project. And when she molted, I was able to take a look at her spermatheca, and I was like, yep, that's a gabelli. So she was an Aphonopelma gabelli, mature female. But she was sold as a Calcotis. So many people who don't know get a species, and they're like, oh, it's this species. And then people like me who kind of know better take a look, and we're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's such a perfect storm for that kind of thing to happen, at least in tarantulas specifically, you know, because it's like you have people that are going out and catching these things. They don't, it's a tarantula. They don't know what it is. They don't care. Like, they know what the regional ones are. So they're like, this is probably what it is. And so when they go to resell it, they just tell the person buying it, wholesale, whatever shop or flipper or whatever is buying it to take to a show. Okay, these are Calcotis. Okay, cool. That's what I'm gonna label them as. And then there's so many hands where things are getting switched up through that
which
so
is
easy for that kind of
there are a couple of people I know of that go out and they collect and they know their shit. So like those people, I'm like, okay, I trust you that you know what you're talking about. So there are people who do care, but the vast majority
there's a lot of people that don't.
There's a lot of people that don't. They just see the boring brown spider and they're like, it's a Calcotis. It's a Hensi. Right. Yoink. And oh my goodness, the amount of time. So I have been trying to get a breeding group of Aphonopelma and Axe. I have one female. I've bought 5 so far. The other 4 were Hensies. And the thing is like, you can tell. So when they molt, or when you're just looking at them visually, you can't tell. You cannot distinguish an Axe from Hensi. It's only when you take a look at their spermatheca that you're like, oh. So again, an Axe has a very like, almost kind of like a hill, kind of, and then the Hensi is like the very pointy triangle with the bulb on the end, and it's like, okay, that's 2 very different structures. And that's how
you've started that database.
Yes, mainly yes.
That a little bit.
Yeah, elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I have a little database going, especially for the U.S. native Aphonopelma, because they're hard to find references of spermatheca that aren't just in the revision. It's also, I find it for every species, actually. It's kind of hard to find references of spermatheca. Like, it's like Google searches, and especially things like Kilobrachys, especially like the species and genera where we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Good luck finding a spermatheca reference, because
we've named it. We're moving on. That's like it. Yeah.
And so I'm building this little database not only to document my own spiders, but to hopefully shed some light on how these spiders develop. Because, for example, one of my Aphonopelma, it's a Mexican native Aphonopelma species, Bosque primavera. I've photographed her spermatheca since she was about 1/2 inch. So she's gone from tiny little like nubbins to now recognizably spermatheca structure. And
that's super cool.
She's about 1 inch now. So inch and a half. Like, she's not that much bigger, but like she's had like 4 molts. Like, she didn't grow a whole lot, but like her spermatheca developed quite a bit. And so I like to have it not only marks yep, That's her ventral. That was her very first ventral. So that's the only one up there for her at the moment. But she's a lovely little thing.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get as many species as possible. Yep, that's a Baviana. That's the female. I actually have a male now that I have a ventral as well. I upload my ventrals and my spermatheca, and I'm actually looking to hopefully start a male accessory organ gallery, which I've started. Especially, what motivated that one was like looking at the Acapulco. If I'm butchering that, please forgive me. But like, yep, that's an Aphonopelma steindatroni. That's a mature female.
Whoa.
So that's something I see in the groups pretty regularly is the ongoing debate of someone posts a picture like this, usually much more like from 5 feet away and lower resolution.
Blurry, yeah. It looks like they took the
is it
picture
male
with a
or
toaster.
female? And there's an ongoing debate, it seems like, in every post of like someone, at least one person pipes up and is like, you can't sex ventrally.
You can.
Yeah, you can. You just have to have the skill set and you have to know what you're looking at. Like, for example, for me, I still struggle with old worlds sometimes. Like, I've had old worlds, like that is a Pulchripes. That's my mature female Pulchripes that is actually now paired. She, like, that is very recognizably as female to me because it's very uniform and very like, if this were a male, you'd have something in the middle of the
it's like usually a dot, you know what I mean? Or like
for old world it's a dot. For the Aphonopelma, it's a dark triangle. Like, it's a dark triangle.
A dark, interesting.
Yeah. Like, if you can find a Aphonopelma hensi, there would be a couple. It should be either hensi and Calcotes. There should be a couple of references of males as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's female. And I also, if they're animals that I own specifically, I will put specimen 1 or whatever specimen number they are. That's a male. But I'll put whatever specimen number that they are, so I can not only keep track of who's who, but other people, if they're interested, can see the progression of, say, from molt to molt, how different the ventral may look, because it actually does change. The hair structure does change from molt to molt. Like, it'll be about the same, but they do change.
Wow, that's nifty.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fascinating. I love taking a look at the ventral side, and there have been quite a few times where I've been given a male and I'm like, take one look and I'm like, that's not a male, that's
not a
dude.
Female. Yeah.
Yeah. These were particularly hard to take pictures of. That I had to use my my macro lens for that. Those are the Aphonopelma paloma, and I believe that one is the mature female. They're all probably mature, but like that's the big girl, I believe. Should be specimen. Like 20. Yeah, specimen 1 is yeah. They're,
I mean, like, seeing that's more obvious to me. Like,
yeah,
I feel like most people, even if they've only been in the hobby for a short period of time, can look at that and be like, okay, I would think that would be a female.
Yeah. Like, I will say on Aphonopelma, if I'll post them later, but like on the Aphonopelma species Acapulco, again, it's not as obvious. Same with the Grammostola rosea on this gallery. A lot of people would look at it and be like, I don't really know what I'm looking at. Which is completely acceptable, but to the trained eye, that was the spermatheca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you using for these? Like, what's your setup for?
So I have a microscope set up. So I forget what model number it is, but I have a AccuScope, I think is
Like,
what
does
the
someone
brand
have
was.
to drop like crazy amounts of money on a good microscope, or can you get away with a relatively entry level?
So I have a nice pricey refurbished one. You don't need that necessarily. I have a nice microscope. It was gifted to me by my mother, who is very supportive of all my escapades here. And it was a very, very nice Christmas gift. It was my only Christmas gift, understandably. But yeah, you don't necessarily need a high tech
I guess
microscope.
what's the minimum? I guess is kind of what I'm.
Honestly, the very first pictures I started taking, which look like crap, but you can still see you can still see what they are.
Mhm.
Was just literally like a $50 one off of Amazon kind of
Okay.
thing. Like you don't have to have something high tech.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get something because, and I mean, it's a whole another learning curve of if you're dealing with
Yeah.
teeny tiny molts, getting those where you need 'em,
Yes.
where you can see it. I'm
Which
sure there's a level of skill involved in that, but
yeah.
I'd like to get something to be able to look at those Akaya molts and my
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool.
molts, and be able to know like what to expect and what to look out for. And if I end
Yeah.
up with 3 males, like whatever, down the road saying,
Yeah. Which actually, if you can find the Aphonopelma species Bosque primavera, should be around there. Yep.
Oh,
That is the very
Whoa.
first picture is yep. That's how tiny her spermatheca were when I first started. And that was a very tiny molt. Like they start as those two little prongs in the center there.
okay, it took me a minute.
Yeah.
Yep, I see.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what they start as.
Good
And
lord.
then as you as she molts, see that's the next molt. And already you can kind of see the structure forming. And then the next molt that gets
wow,
more
that's
pronounced.
crazy. That
And
is
then
crazy.
the next molt, it's even more pronounced. You start to get these
Look at
little
that.
dots. Yeah,
Holy shit. Yeah.
it's really interesting.
That's pretty banana land.
How are you getting those molts to where you can spot that stuff? Like, what's your process with that?
It is a lot of patience, first of all.
Yeah, you must have the patience of a saint.
With molts that little, yes, sometimes it feels like that. Also, if you go up to the top of the page, and it says "We're tarantula content," and it has that little down arrow on the side, you can filter.
Oh,
Yeah,
right there. Oh.
You can filter from ventrals or spermatheca
Gotcha.
galleries. Yeah.
Oh, look at the
Eventually, I'll have
Formosa,
some males up there. Yep, that was
Ooh.
a female pokey. I almost said male. That's a female pokey I had. I actually traded her for a mature female staying in Datronai, but I do miss her.
How dare you?
I think if I were to ever keep pokies again, I would go for Miranda.
Oh, they're cool.
Dude, there was
They're
some
cool.
at Daytona, and I wanted some, but
yeah,
I had other stuff to get.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's like, do I really? Because I have quite a few, and I don't have the room for everything. And I'm like, do I want to have an arboreal, or would I rather have some terrestrials that I can stack?
Yeah.
Versus the arboreal and just have the one kind of.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, these actually, I think that picture was on my old microscope, so that's
not bad at all, though.
Look at these right here.
Yep. Okay. That female, by the way, is about 5 years old, and that picture was not great, but you can still see them.
Yeah, you can see
sometimes.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, sometimes
museum worthy is like as long as I can see what I need to see.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like you can only get the spermatheca to cooperate so much.
Right.
And you're like, you get that picture and you're like, all right, fuck it, that's good enough.
I can even get to this point in the first place is all that matters. Like,
yeah.
Oh, look at the Marshalli. Those are cool.
So I got her as a mature female, so she
look at that.
doesn't have any younger pictures, but it is a good reference of the Ceratogyrus genus.
Mhm.
A lot of the Ceratogyrus have the structure where it's kind of like the two pillars with the dark bulbs on top.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
it's
for like the sake of this database, if Phil and I had molds and we were like, "Hey, do you want these to use to add to
Please.
this?" Okay.
Oh, all right,
Please.
perfect. I can
I
just
was gonna
leave
say
my
I have a
Drissasaurus.
little
As-
drain vial
as
full
long
of
as they're labeled,
and...
as long as they're labeled, please.
Okay.
I
Oh, all
do
right.
want to expand.
I have
on
a skin
this.
bin. I have a skin bin full of stuff.
bin?
So I
They do
got
have
you.
to be labeled. So
Oh, I know.
as,
Oh yeah.
as long
Oh,
as
yeah.
you know which is which.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And there's a Samani.
Yeah, I need to get a male for my female.
I
think
have
she'll be-
two
she'll be
little
good to go.
slings.
I think she'll
I
be
have
ready
two little
within the
slings
next
that
month
were
or so.
actually they were produced by Dritz.
Goat.
Yeah. So who I am local to. So I get to go hang out with him quite a bit.
That'd be such a problem for me.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad, dude. He'll
My
call me
wife
and be
would
like, "Hey,
so mad
I
at me.
have half of the baboons that I have are probably like almost all of the Pteronocylus that I have are from him.
he's
Yep,
a,
and that's
he's an
the
enabler."
difference between one molt.
That's
one molt.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. So the way
Wow,
they
look at
develop is
that.
so interesting.
That
Yeah.
is so interesting.
Yeah, I think I have some new ones as well. I do have some new ones. I just took pictures of my Monocentrophus balfouri, which that Spermatheca looks funky. And it was actually really weird because most of these Aphonopelma, this one not so much, but like you can see that they're kind of sclericized where they're kind of solid.
Mm-hmm.
The Monocentrophus balfouri was like this. It was like no sclerification. Like it was almost see-through, which is what you'd expect of a sling.
Oh, right.
And this is a mature female. Like this female is bigger than the one that dropped an egg sac. Like she's a mature female. And yet like again, like the pokey there as well, like it's dark, it's sclericized. The embals didn't have that, and I was like, that is so interesting. Do you
think that has to do with being a hammock sac layer?
I don't think so, because the Ceratogyrus, they have dark sclerification, and they're hammock layers. But yeah, I would love to expand on this database, and actually, I think I'm probably one of the only people who have references
I haven't seen
of the Mollendorffi, because that's not in the taxonomy revision of the Aphonopelma. So I might be one of the only people who have made a little category for that. That is Aphonopelma anax.
Whoa, that's funky looking. Look at that.
Yeah. Especially if you compare that to the Aphonopelma hensi. It's two very different structures. Which is
time.
Yeah, which is what makes them so recognizable.
I gotta catch a glimpse of this warlock.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit of a process to document all of this, but it's
Holy crap.
Yeah.
You're not kidding.
No. And actually those should have some sling pictures as well.
Whoa,
that's
tiny.
from the slings that I have that I'm growing up.
Tiny little beans.
Yeah, that one's pretty hard to... Yep, there it is. It's pretty hard to see, but it's there.
Whoa.
Yep. There's some more. Especially when you compare to the mature female, like Spermatheca. Like that is very different.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah, and yeah, some of the females are a bit too big for the microscope, so I go in with my
makes it even
lens.
easier.
Yeah. And then some of them I do a clean. So if you go back one image, that is just the spermatheca that I've taken from the abdomen and put it on a slide, which is hard to do. Which is a lot harder to do than this, which is just put a bright light underneath it and shine it. But I actually had to do that. I had to clear the spermatheca for the Monocentrophus balfouri because you could not see anything. That's how like unsclerosized that it was. It was just almost completely see-through. Yeah, it was impressive.
It must be so tough to get those on a slide and like position and everything.
It is at first, and then once you kind of get in the rhythm of it and you kind of get used to it, it's a lot easier.
Wow.
Yeah, so I use very high tech. I use sewing pins.
Oh, cutting edge.
I use sewing pins. Yeah, very, very cutting edge.
State of the art.
Yep. And then it's very, you have to be very patient, especially with the slings, because the way that the molts are,
so people can see the difference next to each other.
Yeah. When you take a slings molt, or even just any molt, the abdomen, so usually part of it's attached to the carapace, and because they squeeze out this way, so part of it is attached to the carapace. If you pull on the carapace in the right way, you can actually get the abdomen to open right up. Like, if you pull it gently, the abdomen will kind of just open and spread. If you don't do it correctly, it will tear the abdomen, which is not useful. But it takes a lot of patience to work with the slings. Anything like half an inch or around that size, you have to have a lot of patience. Yeah. Which is some of those molts, especially on those little itty bitty baby hensies, those were like half an inch. Yeah. So
it's like doing surgery.
Like how many for, at least in the beginning, like how many molts were you having to scrap because you just couldn't get anything from them for every one that you would get pictures of?
I still do that. I still on the holdbacks I have of the Darlingi slings, I tore one the other day and went, fuck. Like, sometimes it's just, you have to get to the molts right away.
Yeah.
Or if they sit there, then they're harder to work with.
Yeah.
Because even when you rehydrate them, they don't fully rehydrate. And they're always still a little bit more delicate than if you were to get them like straight, fresh molts. I've had molts that I've pulled that were still like gooey,
soggy. Yeah.
Yeah, that they still had liquid on the inside because they were so fresh.
Nice.
And then on the opposite end, I've had molts that were so dried out that I was just like kind of breaking it to get it to fold open. I actually recently I was given what species was that? Phormictopus cancerides molt, and it was supposed to be a female. It was not. But I still have the picture of the male accessory organ that went with it. It looks like kind of just a rectangular tab where the spermatheca should be, whereas the Acapulco, like it literally looked like another set of spermatheca, like kind of. So Slittle Caudal again does that. A lot of people you'll see they'll be sexing like their albipilosis, and they'll be like, oh, it's a female, because there are these two little like bear ears, yeah, like little bear ears, and it's like no, those are the male accessory organs, but they're that pronounced that you can visually see them, like on a male that's either penult or whatever, or just almost mature, or even on the maturing molt. Like if you look and you see his accessory organs, they're quite pronounced. Versus like most of the Aphonopelma that I've had are just there's just nothing. So there are different species that express the male accessory organs, which I think is very interesting, and I will be That's why I want to explore so many more species. Is I want to learn which ones are expressing the male accessory organs prominently.
That's very interesting. Definitely not something I've considered before. In terms of how prominent accessory organs are, or even I guess what they look like. It's crazy to look at the differences when you really kind of look at the pictures that you posted. I guess I can't believe how prominent the mature organs are.
Yeah. So I will definitely be updating the website to have the Acapulco, because that one is very interesting.
Oh, cool.
I wish I could show you guys now. If there were a way, I would. But yeah, it's almost like night and day between what you're looking at and the male accessory organs. And sometimes those male accessory organs can be a little tricky, especially on slings. Like I have a Ceratogyrus, what is it? It's a brachycephalus. He is definitely a male, but his little male accessory organs were kind of looking like spermatheca when he was smaller, but now he's like, they're definitely male accessory organs. So size also does play a role in
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is interesting on the species that have the pronounced ones, because they'll start like this Acapulco is literally like 1.5 inches. And I was looking at it thinking initially, did I missex this when I looked at it ventrally? And then it took me looking at the female to compare that was actually male accessory organs. Wow. That's how prominent they were. Yeah.
If we send you molts, is it better to send them in like a dram over something with some structure to it to keep them from getting?
Yes. So I have had some people send me molts before. And what I figured works best is to kind of wrap them in almost kind of like you're shipping a spider, kind of. So like you want to put them in like a little deli cup or something, a little bit of padding, but make sure that it's like moist towels, like towelettes, like paper towels. And then that kind of keeps a little bit of the moisture in, so they're not bone dry,
right?
And they're not super fragile when I get them. I still always soak them before, anyways. Which is soaking them is just I have a little deli cup that I put like 2-3 drops of Dawn dish soap in, and I fill it up, and then that dilutes enough so when you add the molt in, it just kind of reabsorbs all that water because of the dish soap. Yeah. So I will take,
good to know,
pretty much any species, and male or female, if you think it may have some accessory organs. Not that the average person would be like, yes.
Even
but like
documented species, like I've got an Apophysis male.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool to see. That would be really cool to see.
I'm pretty sure they're one of the species that has male accessory organs, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I still have a molt hanging around.
Yeah.
I'll have to look. I try to hold on to them, especially if they're a little bigger, because that way I can sort of just verify from the previous molt to make sure that I'm not an idiot.
Cool. Yeah.
So my Katie, my wife didn't realize that they molted, and so one day she went into the snake room and saw a molt and thought it was the spider, and a freaking heart attack, because she is not a fan of the
I've had a couple.
She was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's a molt. They shed just like the snakes do."
Yeah, I've had a couple of people come over to the house and they're like, "Oh, hey, can I see the animal room?" And then they see a molt and they're like,
"Yeah."
They're like, "Oh no, one got out!" And I'm like, "No. no.
Yeah, I have that male apophysis,
safe.
and then there's there's a female for sale locally that I'm really wanting.
Apophysis is an interesting species.
Do it.
I know, dude. I know.
Just don't get kicked by the
Theraphosa-
hairs.
If
They intimidate the crap out of me. Those hairs are they're legit, dude.
I will say that the Theraphosa that I've worked with, the mature females were fine. Like, the mature females didn't really kick a whole lot unless you were seriously messing with them.
Oh, if I look at that male wrong, he's kicking, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the
The
dudes. It's
juvies
always
and the
dudes.
males.
It's always the boys. Yep.
For when I worked at the shop, it was the juvies and the males that were just.
And you get hit with those
And
hairs, you're itching for like a week. Yeah.
And they were like, they do them and Xenesis do the double back leg.
Double
kick.
leg. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder, has
Xenesis-
anyone ever tried like Nair if they get hair? Like if that would cut it,
I don't know.
you'd be losing that whatever hair that belonged to you. But I wonder.
I'm not
should
sure
try
if
it
that
out.
would
Try it
work
out.
because they're
Do a little
I mean,
citizen
our hairs
science
are-
for us.
structured differently, so the chemical might
Yeah,
not.
stick my hand in the apophysis enclosure.
Yeah.
I'll just coat my hand and
Oof.
then I'll nair it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, boom. No
Yeah,
more
you try it out. Let us know how it goes.
For science.
For science.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I'm like mine is fine. Like really, if I leave him alone, I'm not opening the tank or anything like that. He doesn't care. His abdomen's looking really good. He's not balding or anything. But tell you
Ooh,
what,
nice.
though, like freaking bump the container before that.
Probably
before he
goes
opened that
nuts.
tank, and it was just like a little cloud every time. It was like, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when they molt, they
Mhm.
just lay it down.
Yeah.
They kick so much hair and they lay it down like a mat, and they're just like, all right.
Wow.
Yeah. I've seen quite a few where it's like that thick and it's just urticating hair.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
like it's a
okay.
mat.
That's like serious. That's like a yoga
Yeah, like
mat
when the
worth.
females would go to
Yeah.
molt, it was just thick. They would
It's, like,
lay
kinda
out their hairs
grotesque.
thick. It was like, "Ugh, I'm not reaching my hand in there.
Shudders.
I'm not opening that. I'm not doing anything with that." But yeah, the Theraphosa, they're pretty cool.
I didn't. That was another one. I didn't really get the hype. Okay, it's a giant brown spider, and then I got this apophysis, and I was like, okay,
They're
Ew.
interesting.
spider. Like
Yeah,
I get it now. I love that
Yeah,
thing,
like-
man. It's a fun
like,
spider.
it's a lot of spider. It's a lot of like hair aside. It's a lot of spider. They usually have great like feeding responses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
And,
god.
like whole barrel roll and everything when they're younger. They'll have everything and yeah, like I can see why that they are such a big species for like people.
Why they're popular.
Mine's
Yeah,
still
one of the popular
young
ones.
though. Mine's not even like big, but he's
He's getting there.
getting there.
Yeah. I
I'm
want to see
waiting
the
for the
biggest
day
one.
that my wife walks in and sees him full grown and is like, what the fuck is that? The baby. I called him the baby because it was just
Yeah.
it reminded me of that I don't know, are either of y'all old enough to remember Rugrats
Yeah.
in the 90s?
Yes. Yep.
And they had that weird dream, like the giant baby. He didn't want another brother or something, so he had this nightmare about this giant baby, and that's what it reminded me of. I called it the baby, and
The baby.
it's
The
awesome.
child.
The baby.
Child, yeah. And it'll always be called that, even when it's the size of my face.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That is,
I remember once I was at Dritz's and he and Corey were pairing some Sturmy, and they had the pairing was done in a 41 quart tub, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever
Battleground.
seen.
It's like a game of
Dude.
Warhammer 4000, 5000.
Dude, directing those spiders towards each other was like a feat. It was like a feat of epic
Yeah.
proportions, Justin. We're like have the longest paintbrushes that Dritz has, and we're like,
Mhm.
covering our face because like,
Yep. I
he's
was
like,
about to
dude,
say
if she
the-
kicks, he's like, if she kicks, you can't get that in your eye, Phil. Like you can't get those hairs in your eye.
Don't
I've had
breathe.
Theraphosa hairs on
Yeah.
my tongue before.
Ooh,
yeah,
was
that's
not
I'm good. I'm good. Like
And I
will
have
stick
had
to
it actually in the eye.
my Asian stuff, dude.
I did actually once have it in the eye, and my
Yeah.
whole eye swelled shut.
Yeah, my
was
worst
like-
was
That
Parahybana.
was not fun.
That was
That was probably the worst tearing I've ever had.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
getting that.
LPs are
It
tough
was like
too.
I could feel it. It was just one hair.
Oh.
It was just one hair, but like you could feel it. It was like a needle in
Embedded.
the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
I was
pouring
like,
bleach in my eye or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, New Worlds, man. They are something else.
Yeah, I think it depends on the genera. Like Therafosa,
Yeah.
you're asking for
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
them
my
and Brachypelma.
erratum are pretty quick to do it, and the classy are too. Really, for the most part, at least my
Classy's
younger
are-
female. The adult male now, I don't think he cares. He's like whatever. The smaller,
I think
smaller
if-
female, she's like, yeah, no, kick. No.
Yeah, I think if I were to have a Brachypelma, I think it would be classy. I do like
I'm
the classy.
freaking obsessed with him, man.
Yeah, Justin lives for
Oh
class.
my god.
I
You gotta
gave
get
all
that
my
male to
brackies
Drix
away.
then.
I know. I just like I said, I need to text him. Like, when are we doing this? And then
You gotta call him, dude. You gotta call him, be like, hey, listen.
he's gotten pretty good about texting me back pretty quickly lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's improved.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
not.
I was like,
No,
can
that
you
guy,
tell
you
Dritz
know.
to text me back? And Phil's like, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, let me
Yeah.
call him.
Yeah, he's pretty good at texting me back, so
Baboons.
He wants him. He
That'll-
said
Yeah.
he's got like 3 females up there waiting for him. So
Probably,
Nice.
dude. He has it all.
yeah, he does.
You just like show up and you're like, ooh, what's that?
yeah.
Ooh,
Exactly.
what's
It's
that?
like
Ooh.
like the other week he was just like, I got a shipment of baboons. I was like, you don't
Oh,
say.
really?
Oh, really?
Bank
Care to
account.
share with the class?
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
But it's
Yeah.
that classy though. Like even the male, like with as leggy and as they get and stuff, it's still like most male tarantula species. Like they're really not that attractive. Like those classies still hold up even.
Yeah, they're good looking.
Like oh my
They're
god,
good looking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just-
There are a couple handfuls of species that still look really good as mature males.
They age well.
They do.
yeah, yeah, they do.
They do. Dwarf baboons. Let's shift gears.
Yeah,
Get into those. a little bit.
Uh,
What species are we talking about when we're talking about dwarf baboons?
dwarf. So I don't have any. Surprisingly, I don't own any. But mostly when you're talking about dwarf baboons, you're mostly talking about your heterothelae. So your Gabonensis, your species.
Villicella. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about mostly those guys. The experience that I have working with those guys was mostly as slings. A little bit of juveniles, I think. But I've never personally owned them. I think they're very interesting. I hear that they're very fast.
They are
Yeah,
stupid quick.
I hear that they're
Yeah.
very fast. Same with there are a couple of New World dwarfs that are pretty quick, like the Diamantinensis. Like
Yeah, I've heard those.
those guys are
Those are
those
quick.
guys are fast.
Those guys are quick. Yes.
Yeah. The only other ones that I can think of for dwarf,
Would Mira
would
count as a
be-
dwarf species?
I
I
think
thought they were.
technically it
I thought
does.
they were.
They are
Yeah.
small.
They're on the larger side, but
They're a
I
big
think yeah.
A giant
I don't think
dwarf.
that I don't
dwarf.
that's another one of those things where like I don't think that they're technically dwarfs by definition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, but we know them as like a dwarf.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the Aphonopelma vorzi is kind of like it's not the normal size.
Yeah.
It's but it's
Dwarf
also not part of the dwarf complex. Yeah, exactly. It's dwarfish. The only other ones that I can think of are Harpactyrella, which I've worked with a couple of those as well. I don't know where they ended up. There was a Harpactyrella species, Worcester or something like that. Something like that. That I worked with at the shop, and they were and I actually saw them at a show, and they were really cool, but I didn't have the money for them
Mhm.
because they were probably like the only ones in the US. as far as I'm aware, Harpactorella is kind of hard to come by, whereas the Heterothele, like the Gabonensis, are actually
Yeah, I had Villicella for a while and really enjoyed those, and I want to get them again. That was, what year is it? 20? It was like 10 years ago that I had Villicella.
Wow.
And I never had Gabonensis, but I think I kind of want those more than Villicella currently, just because I do like the little
Yeah.
to them. But
yeah, the Gabonensis are pretty damn cool.
I'm going to talk about ready for food, man. Those Villicella, you dropped it in there, and I mean they were really heavy Webbers, but like as soon as
yeah, I have seen that.
They were coming out and just hunting it down, and I got a thing for dwarf species between tarantulas.
I mean,
stuff. I gravitate towards them. I don't know why. I'm a giant man. I'm like 6'4". I'm like 265. I love the smallest species I can find and stuff. So
I do love my Aphonopelma dwarfs, but I think the baboons. I think baboons are harder to find as dwarfs because they're already like most of them aren't that big.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of them are like what 4 inches, maybe somewhere around there. Like I know my Ceratigyris aren't that big. They're not like they're certainly not reaching the size of like most New Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, or I should say most like Formictopus or like any.
Well,
of the,
I mean, those
the
are
big
huge.
kids.
those are the big.
They're big even of their own class.
The big kids table, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's the big kids and then there's the giant kids.
Yeah.
Do you have a theory as far as with the Ceratogyris with the horn? Because we talked about that with who was it? I think it might have been Dritz the first time we had him on, and he had an interesting theory on it.
So, what I think is that it originally probably started as like some type of like reserve, so some sort of like additional resource.
Yeah, caloric.
Like a camel
reserve.
Hump.
Yeah, like a camel hump. I think it probably is something to do with that. What I think is very interesting is not all the Ceratogyris have horns, and even within the Ceratogyris, the species vary, like their horn size. Like you have the Sandiri that kind of has just this little nubbin.
A nubbin.
And then you have on the complete opposite end of something that we don't have in the hobby is the Aphonopelma, which is incredibly impressive.
Whereas, that's a crazy looking spider. Dritz showed me pictures. That thing doesn't look real.
No, they don't. Their horn is about the same size as their carapace on the mature female.
It's freaking huge. It looks like a Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. It looks insane. Although I will say those are probably like mature females.
Yeah, probably.
Because, like with the Ceratogyris, their horns kind of grow with them.
That makes sense.
I have a Marshali that's a mature. The Marshali that dropped an egg sac, she's mature female, but her horns only like it's not like this huge pronounced one like you see on a lot of the like big beefy mature females. But yeah, so I think it's kind of like a reserve kind of thing, although I think it's very interesting that not all the species have them, and I would love to dive into like the phylogenetics of it to see like where things fall, where things started with the horns and where things went with the horns. Like
that'd be crazy.
Did we have Aphonopelma first? Yep, that's Aphonopelma.
Yeah, look at that thing, dude.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Yeah. It's like a dread.
Yeah, dude, it's like a single dreadlock.
Yeah.
It's like a Marge Simpson haircut.
Yeah. That's Dolichocephalus. So that's another species we don't have in the hobby. That one's a very pretty one as well. But the Aphonopelma is massively impressive. And we don't have a whole lot of pictures of them. But yeah, I think, and then there's also I can never pronounce the genus name, but the S. hoffmanni also has a horn, and that's a New World.
Oh yeah, that one's newish, right?
So it's not new. It's just like it's been around in the hobby, but it's not something I don't think that they ever really have been bred. So it's kind of like, oh, you've got one here, and then in the next 5 years, you've got one there, and like, I think the problem is that they can't find males, and that they're produced so few. So whether the original, I don't know if they're still being wild caught or what, but as far as I know, that they're not really commonly bred or anything is, I think, the problem with them, which is a shame because they're such cool species. Because the horn thing is like, that's
It's interesting.
Mainly what drove me to Ceratogyrus was the horn thing. I think it's incredibly interesting.
I do like the Meridianalis.
Yes,
Ooh, yeah.
I do love even the non-horned Ceratogyrus, and of course the other baboons. Like I do love them. Yeah, I have 2 Meridianalis. I'm pretty sure they're both males, but that's fine. I actually got another Meridianalis today. It's wicked tiny. It's so tiny. Yeah.
Do you find they grow as
that.
fast as pretty much the other baboons do? Is that whole group pretty fast?
Honestly, I feel like my Ceratogyrus, like Sandiri and Brachycephalus, have grown faster than my Meridianalis, but Meridianalis, as far as I'm aware, is not very large. Like even in terms of Ceratogyrus, that's my understanding of it. So I don't know if my males are now like penult and they're still tiny. So I don't know if they're gonna get that full beautifulness going on right there.
Yeah, that carapace pattern, man, is just
yeah, the carapace is super pretty. Yeah, that is.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
With the banding, on the knees.
Yeah, the dark and the golds and the.
Look at that.
Sort of the marbling on the abdomen.
Yes, I love the abdomen on the abdomens on the Ceratogyrus.
Yeah.
Which actually
a sharp spider.
Yeah, I don't have it on my website or anything like that. I think I have it on my Instagram, but I actually drew each of the horned Ceratogyrus. So I spent a lot of time looking at the abdomens, and I love their abdomens. I think they're incredibly beautiful.
Super cool detail.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Do you know, as far as like phylogenetically, sort of where the groups of baboons sort of split off from one another? Like, did it start with Ceratogyrus? Did it start with
I don't,
Pteronoclus?
unfortunately. I would love.
I'm always
to
so
learn.
curious as to what how stuff branches off from one another. Like,
that's something I would love to dive into as well. It's just it's such a complicated topic. I don't even know if it's been necessarily done. I would probably have to dig through papers to see about that. But yeah, I know the there was a couple of those done for the Aphonopelma in the taxonomy revision.
Well, after talking to Dritz last time, I didn't realize how much of a pain in the ass it was to get DNA that's like workable.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly hard.
Oh, it's a whole shebang, dude.
Especially if you're not killing the spider.
Yeah, it's
like
it's a lot easier. That it made more sense as to why we don't have that kind of information and why studies aren't.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to just
common.
Unfortunately, kill the spider to get the DNA, but like even then, like of course, even then, like you have data points, but like you still need a place to start with that to make that make sense.
Right.
So you can't just have like one species and be like, oh well, this does this. You kind of have to sample everybody. It's a whole process.
I need Chordatus though.
Oh yeah, the Chordatus are cool.
I don't know why they call them mustard baboons, because there ain't nothing about those things that's.
Yeah, I got my 2 today. They're about inch and a half, 2 inches, somewhere around there. I'd say 2 inches generous, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, they're both female. So I'll be having a lot of fun raising those up.
The one I had, I got at a local pet store that was in business when my dad was a kid.
Damn.
Wow.
The whole place smelled like rodents and cigarette smoke because they smoked in the building for I don't know how many decades.
Wow.
Oof.
The place is no longer in business, which is
Quality establishment.
It was.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. And so they had it labeled as like a Kilimanjaro mustard bed. I was like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen those before. So I got it. And again, this was a long time ago. Been like 2007.
Whoa. I was in 4th grade.
Damn. And
I was pretty young too.
It was a male, and I remember going on arachno boards and trying to find what I could on it, and there wasn't a ton of information at the time with them, and I'm pretty sure it was a male, and I was keeping it so wrong.
Oh no.
I think about it now and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, I was keeping it pretty damp.
Oh.
I didn't have it was like pretty much exactly the opposite of how you would tell someone to keep
a baboon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Oh, he hung on for a handful of weeks, and then he eventually rolled. Whether that was because of me or because it was just a male that was, pretty sure it was mature, but I tried. And ever since then, I'm like, man, that was a really cool species. I want some more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's me with Mira right now. I'm like, I want more, but at the same time, I just losing those 2 females sucked. But I do love the species.
Totally.
They're really cool. That was
they're gorgeous
species of mine for a long time,
gorgeous.
and I got the first 2 I got back in like 2014, 2015. They came from Jamie's tarantulas.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the last species I kept before I kind of no longer had spiders for a long time, up until a year ago. But when I saw some more, Adam and Kyle were selling them on their Palm Street, and I grabbed
Palm Street
2
is
of
a
them.
dangerous place.
It's a dangerous place.
That's how I got my cordatas.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous place.
There's so many times where I got my hand hovering over that bid button.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
what you mean.
And I'm like, don't do it.
Especially where, not that it's an excuse or anything like that, but I've been stressed out with college right now. So I'm like,
cope spending.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm like,
some more spiders.
Ooh, well, that's a really good deal on a 2-inch spider.
Why not? Like, I can't be any broker than I already am. Why not?
Right,
I got one. May as well get it, a buddy.
Yeah, if you're gonna ship it, you gotta fill the box. Yeah, you can't just get one.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, no, I've definitely come in that boat. Yeah,
that's also how I got the I haven't gotten it in yet, but the Harpactira tigrina. I'm interested to see what that is.
It's probably gonna be crazy looking.
Very interested. That vendor had quite a few interesting Harpactiras.
Interesting.
Ones that I've never heard of. Although, to be honest, I'm not huge into Harpactiras, so they very well could be ones that have been in the hobby before, and I just
everything's been in the shadow of Pulchripes.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, it's a cool looking spider.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like if someone were to come to me and be like, "Hey, I'm interested in keeping old worlds, but I'm not quite I don't know where to start." Ceratogyrus darlingi, Harpactira pulchripes. Those are my 2 absolute go-tos for
just
people
on the basis of
because it gets you used to old worlds, but they're not
that bad. Not that
no.
Yeah.
For me, I wouldn't put P. murinus up on there for a first old world just because as slings they're quite fast. And they can be quite bolty, and if you don't know how to house them correctly, they can be a little bit of a nightmare. But I feel like you don't really have that with the darlingi and the pulchripes, whereas they're kind of laid back. They're a lot more chill than some of the other high-strung species.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my buddies who keeps corn snakes and boas and stuff today because like that video I sent in the chat, that reel of the girl with the regalis and stuff, and he was like, he's the one who initially posted that to his stories, and I was like, that's one of the last species I'm going to be handling, and I love Bacillotharia, but I really have zero desire to interact with any of them. And he was asking me about it, and he's like, man, it'd be really cool to have one. I'm like, the more I thought about it, it was like, honestly, dealing with Bacillotharia, I'd kind of rather deal with any number of them than like my green bottle. That green
Yeah.
ball is a freaking handful, man. That green ball is so stupid
Yeah.
quick.
GVBs
Yeah.
are.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
the more I have to
Pokies are predictable, dude.
They are, and honestly,
Yeah.
if I were to get in a situation where I have to have my hand close to an old world, I'd much rather it be a Poke than say an Asian species, in my opinion,
Yeah.
or versus like S. calceatum.
You know, S-Cal, you just
S. cal's not.
Yeah.
S. cal's are a little bit too much for me. I am all set on S. cal's.
I've got two. They're quick.
One time when I was working at the shop, and of course at like an import facility, you don't really have these fancy enclosures. It's kind of like you are in this container.
We're utilitarian
until you're ready to ship, kind of thing. We had these particular delis, 32 ounce or something like that, about like yay big, something like that. But it was the thin plastic. And I picked one up. It was a mature female S-Cal. She had just come in. And her fang went straight through the cup and almost into my hand. And I went,
Jesus.
Whoa.
done with that one. I went, nope.
That's nuts.
That is one of the... So I've never actually had a true bite. So I've never truly been bit by a spider. I've been pricked by fangs, but I've never been bitten. It's never broken skin. So that is not one I would want to...
Yeah.
No,
I would want to break that record with.
Last one on the list is going to be Stromatica, without a doubt.
Yeah,
it's a big ouchie.
They're gnarly.
Because his thing was like, oh, well, I'd somehow get nailed. And I'm like, honestly, compared to like pretty much any of the Cereopagabus I've kept, really anything, dude. I was like, they're really, the more I have to rehouse them and like work around them, the more I appreciate the fact that they're really not that bad. It's just the consequences of an accident are just a little higher.
I mean, compared to a centipede, dude, it's nothing.
Yeah, centipedes are a whole different other story.
Yeah, I was like, it's not, you can't even compare it to. Many times as many legs.
Yeah, and like we had some peds at the shop that I worked at.
Some peds.
We had S. gigania. So gigania.
Those are big. That's a big boy centipede. Yeah, that's an end game centipede.
It's like my forearm.
Yeah, dude, that's a freaking.
It's a centipede, and like that's a unit. Like the bins we had them in, sometimes you just see it like an antenna or a toxicognath just like poke right through the vent the vent holes, and you're like,
yep,
I'm not leaning against that shelf.
Yeah, that's like end game. When I wouldn't
like
even
they're
attempt.
Cool. They're just
a
lot.
They're giant.
Yeah.
Is that the giant black ones? What's the like massive black ones?
Yeah, those are that's like the Islamar. I don't know. What's his name? Hannes was telling me about that locale.
I've seen videos of them. I was like, that's actually. Cool. I still don't want to play with it.
Oh, they're super cool, but like, dude, if that was just somehow get a hold of you.
There's no way that's comparable to like a copperhead or something of that sort.
So with the centipedes that big, they've evolved to eat vertebrates.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So like that venom is gonna be a wicked ouch.
Yeah.
Compared to like a Dahani or like Polymorpha.
It's gonna be ow. A lot of ow.
Mm-hmm.
Pass. No, thank you.
One day.
I think
you need a hard wiki eye.
Dude, those are cool too. I would love that. I gotta get good with the Dahani before I level up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
See
if
I
I
can
were
get some
to own
plings.
a centipede, and this is purely because one of my coworker had them, and I thought they were adorable, would be the flagtails.
What are those? What's the...
So they have so on their terminals, they have these little like flags, and they would like flick them. They flick them.
Whoa, where are they from?
I don't know. I don't.
Wow, that's
All I
super
know is that they're
cool.
called flagtails,
I got the
and
Google
that
machine right in front of me.
and that they're like, I think they're relatively communal or something like that, or he kept
Yeah,
them in breeding pairs or something like that.
I've seen mutilins kept communally, which they're pretty cool too. But that's
But yeah,
also a
they
wicked
would-
ouch.
Whoa, that is
They would
weird.
flick their little terminals. I think it was their terminals at least.
Let's see it.
That's like the beta of.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, that's whack looking, dude.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
funky.
long-tailed centipede.
You couldn't make them any
What?
creepier, and then someone had to go ahead and freaking
Give
do
them
this.
wings, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
what the heck, dude?
Cameroon, so they're African, I guess.
Of course, dude.
Makes sense.
Oh, they're not even Scolopendra?
I don't think so.
Of course not.
That's wild, dude.
They got to go and
Yeah.
create their own thing.
That's banana land.
I don't think they're all that big either.
Nah, that looks pretty small. I still wouldn't hold it like that. But
No, I
yeah.
wouldn't either.
It's a nice,
Yeah.
stupid thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, arguably the worst decision ever. Yeah. Yeah.
I pride myself on our lack of stupid thumbnails on this channel.
Yeah. So honestly, some things with
so-
social media, it's like, why would you do that?
I'm so exhausted with over
Yeah.
thumbnails.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool looking.
That is really cool looking.
Yeah, they're interesting. From what I know from my coworker, they're not too common, I guess, or something. But he had a little group of them, and I think that he showed me a video one time of them flicking their tails, their terminals, and
That's
it
pretty
was
cool.
really cute. I was like, okay, that one, I may
That one's okay.
that one's okay. That one I would consider.
See, like I can see this, and I can be like, okay, that's cool. That's a pretty animal.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I also
neat.
I have a video on my phone of a centipede laying eggs.
Whoa, that's cool. I'm
Yeah.
working towards that.
Yeah, it was insane. I was like, wow, that tapioca stuff really just comes out of you.
Oh,
Like, it looks so like, not that you'd expect centipede eggs to look like, yeah, like that.
like
So, like,
caviar.
Yeah.
like, not that you'd expect them to look any different, but it's like, that's what that looks like.
Interesting.
I love these I love these guys.
Yeah, the
One of the few lizards I miss
mastics.
keeping. Yeah, I got these in my backyard. I'll keep those.
Whoa, yeah. Field collect a couple. See what you can do.
I usually get a little disappointed because I expect to see like a crown snake or something eating on them, but no luck.
Yeah, I don't unfortunately have a whole lot of interesting things up here. in New
Yeah,
Hampshire.
we don't have much outside.
Little tantilla are pretty.
We
neat.
do have
Only $70, and there's no Florida sales, but it's from a company in Florida. How does that work?
that is
It's a good question.
hmm
It says adults average 4 to 5 inches in length.
Okay, not huge.
Yeah,
no,
$69.99.
probably not the place I would buy them from, but yeah.
I've had mixed results.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're cool.
What Aphonopelma, as we get here to wrap this up, which Aphonopelma do you wish you saw more people working with? And
All
keep-
of them. All of them, to be honest.
Good answer. Nice.
Because they're worked with so little. But I would say, honestly, probably just because of the fact that so many are being taken from the wild, probably Calcutta's and Hensey, even though that's kind of like the boring answer. But in terms of species that I'd love to see produced, the dwarf complex, your palomas, your prentencies, your I think saguaro is part of the dwarf complex as well. I would love to see them produced. But part of the problem is that the people who do have a little bit of success don't ever share anything. So
That's gatekeeping.
yeah, that's a big problem with the Aphonopelma. I think it's the big problem with most of the tarantulas, but like especially the U.S. native Aphonopelma. I think a lot of people are just like keep that information close.
Which is weird because then there's the same people that are like, when they get out of that particular project, they're like, "How come nobody kept this going? Like, I sent those pairs to
exactly.
People. Nothing happened.
We didn't know how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we didn't know what we were doing.
You can't send us the ingredients and not give us the recipe.
Exactly. But yeah, I would also love to see. I haven't really touched on this, but there was a new species that was formally described, Aphonopelma jacobi.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would love to see, and I think I might be wrong on this, but I think that they were considering listing it as an endangered species, if I'm not mistaken, because it's so little is known about it.
Then the question is if they start putting stuff as threatened or endangered, does that just drive up the demand for?
Yeah.
Like, is it a double-edged sword where
so
it puts more pressure on populations?
So for me, the US hasn't really had a good track record with putting species on the endangered list and actually protecting them.
Yeah.
Like
gopher tortoises.
Yeah. And San Francisco garter snakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas like you look over in Europe and they're like one of the best beginner pet snakes. And it's like, huh.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. I think a lot of the protection of species could be done through commercialization. Because honestly, like, we're destroying their habitat. Like, even when species are listed as endangered or threatened, we do nothing to protect their habitat, and that's what they need. So essentially, kind of boils down to like almost protecting them into extinction.
Yeah, and it's even the people that swear up and down that they're, they have property they're not going to sell. They're not going to sell it. It's like everyone's got a price at some point. Yeah. Especially when land is a finite resource. We're not getting any more of it.
No.
Price just continues to go up and up and up. And at some point, someone's going to look at that and be like, that's actually a pretty good chunk of change. Like, it's only a couple of acres.
Yeah.
Why
and
not?
then that couple of acres
repeat that cycle, and it's a bummer.
Like
the amount of development
I think
going on here and everywhere else, man, it's like
and then on the keepers side of that is like, all right, so if you have a species that is listed as endangered, is it a CITES or is it an ESA, or like what is the definition of it?
What level of protection?
Because right now they're discussing about listing the southern hognose as Heterodon Simus. Yeah, I agree. I agree with.
We would murder to see a Simus in the wild, but they are so hard to come by that
they are really hard to come by.
I've seen one,
from
and
what I've heard.
We had one at the nature center I worked at as my first job, and that's the only one I've ever seen outside of pictures.
Wow. I have a Simus.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's
you want me to go get her?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Wow.
Jake and I were supposed to go out with Gabe, actually. Well, so Jake and I went herping this weekend. We were either going to go just the two of us to the WMA we go to. That's like our new favorite. Or we were going to go with Gabe and look for Simus.
Okay.
And it ended up being Jake and I went to our WMA. But like we're getting into Hogtober, and Simus are going to be the one on everyone's list that they're just going to have a really hard time finding. Like, out of all the native species, I think those are probably going to be, at least in South Carolina in particular, that's going to be the hardest to find, if at all, possible. They're cryptic. populations are getting smaller, and then their habitat's pretty specific. So it's just a combination of you got to be in the right spot.
She's a very angry girl.
Oh,
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. Look at her.
What's interesting about them is that their belly is like plain.
Wow, yeah.
So like on the Canarelii and the Nassicus,
Mm-hmm.
they have like
Black.
bellies.
Mm-hmm.
She just has a plain kind
Did you
of
get that from Kevin?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I know.
And
He's
so,
the only
like,
guy that's even doing anything with them.
oh, she's so angry right now.
You can hear that's so wholesome. Look at her.
Yeah, she's not very happy. She's not.
Awesome.
But yeah, I love these guys. I have Canarelii, I have Nassicus, and then I would have loved to have a Platyrhino's, but I can't in my area.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're threatened, endangered in New
Yep.
Hampshire. So
Oh,
Massachusetts too.
Makes
yeah.
sense.
I think technically you can have one with a permit, but you have to wild collect them. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Good luck.
what? You're
It's a
not going to get
bummer.
it to live.
That
You're
used
not
to
going to get
be-
it to live.
That used to be a species that I saw fairly regularly, and I haven't seen one in years. It really sucks.
I saw my first one in person this year.
Mhm.
And not in the wild. This was a captive bred animal. This was actually one of Kevin's, so it was a high orange.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Smoke
Yeah.
show. Screamer.
Yeah. Which honestly, I'm more of a fan of the melanistic. But
Oh,
Those are
okay.
cool too.
seeing the orange in person is very cool.
Yeah, both are sweet.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of people working with them, and I wish I could have one. I see more people working with the Platyrhino's than the Simus, probably
Yeah.
because they're so hard to get. But like,
Hmm.
I have this female, and like I'm growing her up, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if I don't get a male now, am I going to be able to get a male for her, or is it going to be treated like an ESA? Is it like, because like I don't know. So
Yeah.
the laws are kind of weird.
I wouldn't be opposed if they did protect them, just because, like I was telling Phil while you were gone, like that's probably the one species native, at least to South Carolina, where the odds of you coming across one are pretty damn slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say that. Which I'm not against protecting them. That is far from it. I'm not against it. I just
Is it actually going to do anything? Is kind of the
Right.
Is it going to do anything, or is it going to be the case where you just kind of protect them into extinction, and you're just like, oh well, we're protecting them. Well, you're not protecting the habitat, so
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and even like with this girl, I would love to get a male. Like, I don't care if it boils down to becoming like the ESAs where you can only like give them away kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't mind doing that to keep them alive in the hobby. I absolutely wouldn't mind doing that. But yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It is wicked tough.
Well, do we have anything else? Where can people find you?
Yeah, that's actually a great
Best
question.
way for them to get a hold of you.
Best way to get a hold of me is... Oh, I'm sorry, girl. She's very mad. Best way to go get a hold of me is through Facebook. Either through my main profile, which is Devin Mitchell Anderson, or through my Facebook page, which is Devin's Creatures. You can also reach me through Instagram, which is Devin's Creatures. And yeah, those are the best two ways to reach me. I do have a Discord, but it's on my iPad, so I don't check it as often as, say, Instagram or Facebook. So yeah.
Well, I'll post a link to the website too with the database and stuff. And then hopefully some people will, hear this and want to contribute to that as well, and
Yeah, that would be
send some
awesome.
stuff, because that'd be an awesome thing to have.
Yes, especially even if it's a species that I have listed, especially if it's an Aphonopelma, like a U.S. native. Like, I'm like, please send me any species, but but if you're gonna focus on one species or genus, then it would.
I think especially with the ones that are undescribed, like,
yes,
personally, I'm thinking like the Flamingochylis acaya that I have, having something
Yeah.
to reference, because I mean, for all we know, they could be the same as
because that's the thing with the species label, right? Like, you have, it's either a species we already know, a new species, or it's a new range or locality of the species that we have.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely set some stuff aside and send some stuff at some point.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
definitely get in touch with me about that.
Contribute.
That would be great.
Important stuff.
Sweet.
It is. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. This episode is brought to you by Fulvius Apparel on fulviusapparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. I believe we were thinking about recording THB tomorrow, but I think Jake and I are going to go road cruise instead. It's that time of year where we're trying to get out there and hammer it hard because things are starting to move. It's rattlesnake season. Males are going to be cruising. So we're trying to get as much in the last couple weeks of herping season as we can. But I believe we will be back Monday for snakes and stogies. So keep an eye out for that. And we will see everybody later.